I walked into my parents' home as they screamed at my 6-year-old daughter, "Scrub those plates properly, worthless child," while my sister's kids giggled, so I stopped their mortgage payments and watched the bank foreclose. My name is Sarah Martinez, and I'm about to tell you the story of how I destroyed my own family to save my daughter. I was 31 at the time, working as a marketing director in Phoenix, Arizona. I thought I had everything figured out, a successful career, a beautiful 6-year-old daughter named Emma, and what I believed was a supportive family system. I was so wrong. That Thursday afternoon, I pulled my Honda Civic into the familiar driveway of my childhood home in suburban Phoenix. The desert sun was beating down mercilessly as I grabbed my purse and walked toward the front door. I'd been making this trip every few months for years, but this time would be different. This time would change everything. You see, I'd been sending my parents, Robert and Linda Thompson, $2,500 every month for the past 3 years to help with their mortgage payments. After my dad's early retirement due to health issues, they'd been struggling to keep up with bills. I didn't mind helping, family was family, right? Plus, they were watching my daughter Emma during the day while I worked. As a single mother with a demanding marketing director position that required frequent travel and 12-hour days, professional daycare wasn't feasible. My parents had offered to help with childcare, and I had gratefully accepted, thinking Emma would be loved and safe with her grandparents. I thought I was being a good daughter and a smart mother. Instead, I was funding my own child's abuse. As I approached the front door that day, I could hear raised voices carrying through the thin walls. My stomach tightened immediately. The Thompsons had always been loud, but something about this felt different. More intense, more cruel. I quietly turned my key in the lock, deciding not to announce my arrival just yet. The voices grew clearer as I stepped inside, and what I heard made my blood run cold. "Get those dishes spotless, you worthless little brat." That was my mother's voice, shrieking from the kitchen. "Can't even wash a plate properly at 6 years old. What good are you?" My heart hammered against my ribs. They were talking to Emma, my own precious daughter. The sweet, shy little girl who still believed in fairy tales and drew pictures of rainbows for mommy. Then I heard cruel laughter echoing from the living room. I recognized those voices immediately, my sister Jessica and her 2 daughters, 15-year-old Madison and 13-year-old Qley. They were laughing, actually laughing at my daughter's humiliation. I stood frozen in that entryway, my hands trembling with a mixture of shock and rage I'd never experienced before. This wasn't just discipline, this was abuse. And my own family was either participating or standing by like it was entertainment. The sound of Emma's quiet sobbing drifted from the kitchen, barely audible over the adults' harsh words, and the teenagers continued giggling. I took a deep breath and made a decision that would destroy my family as I knew it. But first, I needed to see exactly what was happening to my daughter with my own eyes. Let me tell you what I saw when I crept toward that kitchen doorway. It's an image that will haunt me until the day I die. My little Emma was standing on a wooden step stool at the sink, her tiny hands struggling with a large dinner plate covered in dried mac and cheese. Tears were streaming down her flushed cheeks as she scrubbed frantically. Her pink Disney princess t-shirt, the one I had bought her just last week, was soaked, and soap suds clung to her dark curls. "Faster!" My father barked from his recliner, not even looking up from his beer and afternoon TV. "We don't have all day for your pathetic attempts." My mother hovered over Emma like a vulture, criticizing every movement. "Look at that spot you missed. Are you blind or just stupid? Do it again." From the living room, the cruel commentary continued. "Maybe she'll finally learn to be useful," my sister Jessica called out, her voice dripping with disdain for my daughter. Madison and Qley dissolved into fresh giggles, making mocking comments about their little cousin's tears. Emma's small shoulders shook with each sob, but she kept scrubbing. Then the plate slipped from her wet hands and clattered into the sink. Everyone fell silent for a terrifying moment. "Now look what you've done." My mother exploded. "You can't do anything right. Maybe your mother should have left you at an orphanage where they know how to deal with useless children." That's when Emma looked up, and I saw something that shattered my soul, the complete defeat in my own daughter's eyes. She had stopped crying. She had stopped fighting. She was just broken. My hands clenched into fists. How long had this been going on? How many days had I dropped Emma off here, trusting my parents to care for my child, only to have them systematically destroy her spirit? I pulled out my phone and quietly recorded 30 seconds of the abuse. Evidence. Then I slipped back toward the front door. My mind raced with guilt and fury. I'd been so focused on providing for Emma, working those demanding 12-hour days and frequent business trips to climb the corporate ladder and give her a better life, that I'd trusted the very people who had made my own childhood a nightmare. I'd thought they would be different with Emma, that grandparent love would be softer than the harsh parenting I'd endured. How wrong I'd been. I quietly stepped outside and walked to my car. I had some calls to make, and my family was about to learn that hurting my daughter came with devastating consequences. The rage building inside me was unlike anything I'd ever felt. They had crossed a line no mother would ever forgive. I sat in my car that day, engine running and air conditioning blasting, scrolling through my phone contacts. My hands were still shaking from what I'd witnessed, but my resolve was absolute. No one, absolutely no one, hurt my daughter and got away with it. My first call was to Mason Associates, the law firm that handled my financial affairs. Hi, this is Sarah Martinez. I need to speak with Jennifer Mason immediately about canceling some automatic payments. Yes, it's urgent. While on hold, I opened my banking app. There it was, the automatic transfer I'd set up 3 years ago. $2,500 every month, religiously sent to help my parents keep their house. Money that had apparently given them the security to abuse my daughter without consequences. Sarah, what's going on? Jennifer's voice was concerned. I need to cancel the monthly payments to Robert and Linda Thompson immediately. All automatic transfers, all commitments. And Jennifer, my voice was ice cold. I want it documented that I'm withdrawing financial support due to their abuse of my daughter. Are you sure about this? I know you've been helping them for years. Dead sure. Cancel everything. Today. My next call was to Child Protective Services. My heart pounded as I gave them the address, described what I'd witnessed, and sent them the video. They promised an immediate investigation. Then I called my sister Jessica. Sarah, what's up? Jessica sounded cheerful, completely unaware that her world was about to implode. I was just at Mom and Dad's house, I said quietly. Her tone shifted nervously. Oh, did you hear anything? I saw everything. The way they're treating my daughter. The way you and your girls were laughing while my 6-year-old was being verbally abused. Silence. Jessica, I've just cancelled all financial support to Mom and Dad. I've also called CPS. They're investigating how my daughter has been treated. Sarah, you don't understand. I understand that you sat there laughing while my child was being called worthless. I understand perfectly. I hung up and stared at the house. Through the window, I could see my family continuing their toxic behavior, completely unaware that they'd just crossed a line no mother would ever forgive. My phone started buzzing with frantic texts from Jessica, then from my mother. Word was spreading fast. But I wasn't done yet. I was just getting started. I walked back into that house to find chaos. Jessica was frantically whispering to our parents while Madison and Qley looked confused. Emma was still at the sink, now trying to clean glasses with her small, pruned hands. Sarah, my mother's voice was shrill with panic. Jessica says you've done something terrible. I've done what any mother would do, I said, my voice cutting through the room like a blade. Everyone turned to stare at me. Emma, baby, I said gently, come to mommy right now. My little girl looked terrified, glancing between the adults. I knelt down and opened my arms. It's okay, sweetheart. Mommy's here. Emma ran to me, and I scooped her up, feeling how small and fragile my daughter was. You never have to wash dishes for anyone ever again, okay? You're my little girl. You should be playing and being happy. Now wait just a minute, my father started to stand. Don't you dare speak to my daughter again. The command came out with such maternal fury that my father actually stepped back. All of you, sit down. We're going to talk. I held Emma close, feeling her tiny body still trembling. Then I stood in the center of the room, facing my family with the full force of a mother's rage. I've been sending you $2,500 every month for 3 years, I began, my voice deadly calm. I trusted you to care for my daughter while I worked to support her. Instead, you've been abusing her. That's not, Jessica started. I have video, Jessica, of my 6-year-old daughter being called worthless and useless while you and your teenagers laughed. I've sent it to Child Protective Services. My mother went white. My father's beer can slipped from his hand. I've also cancelled every payment, every automatic transfer, every bit of financial support I've been providing. The bank will receive notice that I'm no longer responsible for any assistance with your mortgage. Sarah, please, my mother's voice cracked. We need that money. We'll lose the house. You should have thought about that before you decided to torture my child. The room erupted in protests, pleas, and accusations. But I just stood there, holding Emma protectively, watching my family's world fall apart. I felt absolutely no regret. Only a mother's fierce satisfaction that justice was coming. The real shock was still waiting for them. Let me tell you how quickly everything unraveled after that. Within 2 weeks, the consequences came swift and merciless. Child Protective Services arrived the next day. After interviewing Emma and witnessing the toxic environment, they documented a clear case of emotional abuse. I immediately removed Emma from my parents' care permanently, arranging for professional childcare instead. The bank called my parents 3 days later. Without my financial support, they were immediately in default on their mortgage. They had 30 days to bring payments current or face foreclosure proceedings. I watched it all unfold from my downtown Phoenix apartment, where Emma was slowly healing. My daughter had her own safe space now, filled with love and encouragement instead of impossible chores and harsh words. Mommy, Emma said one evening as I tucked her into bed, why were Grandma and Grandpa so mean to me? Did I do something bad? Those words broke my heart into a million pieces. No, baby, you didn't do anything wrong. Sometimes grown-ups forget how to be kind, but that's never your fault. You're perfect exactly as you are, and Mommy loves you so much. Meanwhile, my phone buzzed constantly with desperate messages. Jessica begging me to work things out. My mother crying about how they'd be homeless. My father angrily demanding I fix this mess. I blocked them all. My only concern was Emma's well-being. The legal papers arrived on a Tuesday. Foreclosure proceedings had officially begun. My parents had 60 days to vacate the property before it would be sold at public auction. That's when Jessica showed up at my apartment, looking haggard and desperate. Please, she begged me. They're going to lose everything. Mom's been crying for days. Dad's talking about dark things. You have to help them. I looked at my sister with cold eyes. Where was this concern when my daughter was being abused? It wasn't that bad. Stop. My voice carried the finality of a mother who would never forgive. My daughter is safe now. That's all that matters. Your parents made the choices. You made yours when you laughed at a 6-year-old's pain. Now live with the consequences. Jessica left in tears, but I felt nothing but protective satisfaction. I had no idea the final blow was yet to come. I didn't plan to attend the foreclosure auction, but something inside me needed to see the end of this chapter. It was scheduled for a Thursday morning in downtown Phoenix. I arranged for Emma to stay with her trusted babysitter and drove to the courthouse steps. A small crowd had gathered, investors, bargain hunters, and a few neighbors who'd heard about the drama. I spotted my parents immediately. My mother looked like she'd aged 10 years in 2 months, her hair unkempt and her clothes wrinkled. My father stood beside her, his face a mask of bitter defeat. Jessica was there too, along with Madison and Qley. The teenagers looked uncomfortable and confused, finally beginning to understand that their cruelty toward their little cousin had devastating consequences. The auctioneer's voice carried across the crowd as he described the property, 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranch home in established neighborhood, being sold due to foreclosure. I watched my childhood home get reduced to square footage and lot size. I thought about the memories held within those walls, some good, many painful, and now, some unforgivable. Most importantly, I thought about Emma, who would never again have to fear those walls. The bidding started at $180,000, well below market value. My parents had bought the house for $95,000 20 years ago, back when Phoenix real estate was affordable. Now it would sell for nearly double that, but they'd see none of the profit after paying off the debts. Going once, going twice, sold to bidder number 47 for $210,000. It was over. My parents were officially homeless. My mother collapsed into my father's arms, sobbing. Jessica looked stricken. Even the teenagers seemed to grasp the gravity of what had just happened. I felt a moment of something, not quite regret, but a twinge of sadness for what my family could have been if they'd chosen love over cruelty, especially toward an innocent child. Then I thought about Emma, who'd smiled genuinely for the first time in months yesterday while we painted pictures together, and the feeling passed completely. As the crowd dispersed, my mother spotted me in the distance. Our eyes met across the courthouse steps, mother and daughter, grandmother and protective mother, two women who'd chosen very different paths. She started toward me, but I simply turned and walked away. Some bridges, once burned, can never be rebuilt. Especially when a child's well-being is at stake. 6 months later, I'm sitting in my living room watching Emma play with her new art supplies. My daughter is thriving, laughing freely, making friends at school, and most importantly, she feels safe and loved. Emma started therapy to help process the emotional abuse, and the change has been remarkable. The defeated, broken little girl I found at that sink is gone, replaced by a confident child who knows her worth. Mommy, look. Emma holds up a drawing of two stick figures holding hands under a rainbow. It's you and me. It's beautiful, sweetheart. I pull Emma onto my lap. You're so talented. I know, Emma says matter-of-factly, then giggles. Ms. Jenny says I should be proud of my art. I smile. My daughter is learning to value herself, something that took me decades to accomplish. The cost has been steep. My parents lost their house and are living in a small apartment across town. Jessica's family is struggling financially after the scandal. The family is scattered, possibly forever. But Emma is safe. Emma is loved. Emma is growing up knowing she's precious and valuable just for being herself. My phone buzzes with a text from my therapist, Dr. Williams, reminding me of our appointment next week. I started therapy too, working through my own childhood trauma and learning to break generational cycles of abuse. Sometimes I wonder if I was too harsh. Then Emma laughs at something silly, or shows me a drawing, or simply curls up next to me for a bedtime story, and I know I made the right choice. Love means protection. Love means boundaries. Love means saying, no more, when someone threatens your child's well-being. As we sit together in our safe, happy home, Emma falls asleep against my shoulder, finally at complete peace. I learned that being a mother means more than providing financially. It means being willing to sacrifice everything, even family relationships, to protect your child's spirit. I saved my daughter. I broke a cycle that had poisoned my family for generations. And as I carry Emma to bed and tuck her in safely, I know that was worth any price. I love you, baby girl, I whisper. Love you too, Mommy, Emma murmurs sleepily. Thank you for keeping me safe. That, I know, is all that matters. So that's my story. Some people might say I went too far, that I destroyed my family over discipline. But those people have never watched their own child's spirit break in real time. They've never had to choose between family loyalty and their child's safety. I chose my daughter. I'd make the same choice again in a heartbeat. And I sleep peacefully every night knowing Emma is safe.